The film begins on Pandora, where Jake Sully talks about his life since joining the Na'vi as chief of the Omaticaya clan. He and Neytiri have become parents to Neytiri, Loak and Tuck, along with another adopted daughter Kiri, who is the biological daughter of Grace Augustine's Novia Veta. The children also spend time with a human boy, Spider, who was left with the human scientists after the previous group evacuated Pandora because babies could not be placed in cryostasis. While the children see Spider as something of a cousin, Neytiri feels that the boy would be better off with other humans, in part due to her own hatred of the Sky People. While everything seems happy, Jake's happiness is quickly shattered when shuttles from RDA ships land on Pandora, destroying large sections of the forest and wiping out the wildlife. Jake and Neytiri carry their children and the other Novi to safety, but Jake holds his wife as they look in horror at the devastation they leave behind. A year later, Colonel Miles Quaritch wakes up in his own avatar body. While attacking his former teammates, all now wearing their own Novi skin, Quaritch soon realizes what happened after watching a video log he himself left before their last attempt to destroy the Novi Soul Tree before he and his team were killed. After gathering their new weapons, Quaritch decides to lead a team back to Pandora with one goal in mind: kill Jake. The RDA has colonized Pandora and established a mining base and the settlement called Bridgehead City. Jake leads several Novi in attacking the humans' planes and supply lines with their Ikran. Neytiri and Loak attempt to join the fight and are nearly seriously injured. Jake carries them to safety, but reprimands them for putting themselves in the line of fire. The group returns to their camp with the rest of the clan. Jake discusses with Neytiri how these changes will affect their children's lives. Meanwhile, Spider joins Loak and Kiri as they head to the Human Research Facility, where Norm Spellman and Max Pertl continue to work. Kiri talks to Grace's avatar while her body is in the tank. Spider then notes that his Novi friends at least know their parents, while he knows and resents who his father was, Quaritch. Quaritch and his team arrive at their base and meet General Francis Ardmore, who updates them on their operations since his death. Ardmore informs them of the advantages the Omaticaya have over them before telling them how to gain the upper hand themselves. The team enters the forest just as Jake's children and Spider are playing there. While Kiri is immersed in nature, the other kids spot Quaritch and his team as they search the former compound unit for the humans and their avatars. He finds his skeleton in the AMP suit he was killed in. The villains find the children and realize they are Jake's children because they have 5 fingers. Quaritch meets Spider and realizes that he is the boy's father. Quaritch asks Ardmore and her team to come down while he takes the other children hostage. Jake and Neytiri are alerted and are stunned to see their nemesis alive and in a Navy body. Neytiri kills several of Quaritch's team before they open fire. She and Jake manage to get their children back, but Quaritch and his surviving teammates retreat, taking Spider with them. Ardmore subjects the boy to a torture method to get him to reveal information about the clan's location, but Quaritch stops them and decides to get closer to Spider to gain his trust. He persuades Spider to accompany him on their mission, otherwise the scientists will perform experiments on him. Jake talks to Neytiri about leaving the clan as they are now being targeted. While Neytiri does not want to leave her home, Jake assures her that it is best for her children and the rest of the clan. He hands over leadership to another warrior, Tarsem, and leaves the clan with Neytiri and her children. They fly their Ikram toward the east coast to the home of the Metcaina clan of Navi. The clan gathers with their leader Tonawari and his pregnant wife Ronal. Jake requests shelter for his family, though Ronal and other tribe members are quick to look down on Jake and his children for being half-human and potentially bringing their dangers to this land. Tonawari, however, respects the performance of the Toruk Makto and allows them to stay. He also instructs his children, Aonum and Saraya, to teach Jake's children how to adapt to their oceanic environment. Quaritch and his team take Spider through the forest, with Spider becoming their translator for the Novi language the team is still trying to learn. Quaritch also manages to connect with his own Akron, albeit with greater power than the Omatikae did. Jake's children join Aonum and Saraya, as well as Aonum's friend Roxo, as they explore the reef. Saraya demonstrates that they communicate with the underwater creatures through sign language and bond with them in the same way the Omatikae bonded with their animals. However, when Loak attempts to bond with a creature, he is quickly pulled through the water and flung away. Meanwhile, Kiri has a more natural connection with the creatures and helps one of them interact with Tuck. Jake and Neytiri are shown how to fly the Shuruk, which can move both in the air and underwater. Loak gets closer to Saraya, who shows him how to breathe better underwater. He also takes him and his sisters deeper underwater, using creatures that provide air while lying on their backs. However, Aonum and Roxo are hostile to Kiri because she is considered a half-breed, which leads to Loak punching Aonum in the face. Neytiri joins the fight along with Aonum's friends, whereupon Jake scolds his sons for their behavior. Jake forces Loak to apologize to Aonum. He does so, and Aonum invites Loak to hunt with him and his friends. They go so far as to trick Loak into hunting a creature just before he and his creature are attacked by an Akula, who kills Loak's mount before chasing after it. Loak tries to swim back before he runs out of breath, but the Akula tries to kill him until Loak is rescued by a whale-like creature named Tulkan, called Payakan. Loak follows Payakan and finds a harpoon stuck in his fin. He removes it and thus gains Payakan's trust. Jake talks to Kiri, who has been feeling different lately because of what she has seen. She claims she can feel the heartbeat of her goddess Iwa, and that it is powerful. Jake assures her that there is nothing wrong with her. Then everyone sees Loak return, and Tonawari scolds Aonum for taking Loak out over the reef, even though it is forbidden. But Loak takes the blame for everything to save Aonum from trouble. Jake tells Loak that he has brought shame on the family with his behavior, but Aonum begins to respect Loak. Loak tells his siblings, as well as Saraya and the other Metkaina, about his encounter with Payakan, but Saraya informs Loak that Payakan is considered an outcast among the other Tulkan. After Loak tries to communicate with Payakan to learn more about his history, Saraya leads the others to their ancestral bay and shows them what the land looks like during the eclipse. She also leads them underwater to the Metkaina Tree of Souls. When Kiri connects to the tree, she can see Grace and communicate with her. However, Kiri soon suffers a terrible seizure, and her siblings take her back to shore. Jake gets Norm and Max to try to help Kiri, but they are no help until Ronald tries their hand and revives Kiri. Norm explains to Jake that the vision she thinks she is seeing could be from frontal lobe epilepsy. Unfortunately, Quaritch's teammate Lyle Wainfleet informs him of a radar blip picked up by the gunboat Norm and Max came in on. The villains then rendezvous with a whaling ship operated by Captain Mick Scoresby and Dr. Ian Garvin to gain an advantage, as they are already on the hunt for Tulkan for anti-aging agents. The Metkaina befriend their Tulkan, including Ronal and her soul sister Ro. Soon after, Quaritch and his team show up. They mercilessly kill a Tulkan and threaten a Metkaina woman, unless she reveals the whereabouts of Jake and his family. Spider is horrified and tries to get his father to stop. The villains then begin burning down their trees and homes. Quaritch orders his team to attack in order to lure Jake to them. Loak once again tries to ask Payakan what he did to make him an outcast. Payakan opens his mouth and allows Loak to enter him and connect with him. Loak sees Payakan's memories and realizes that he attacked the whalers because they killed his mother and family. Loak tries to pass this new information on to the Metkaina, but Jake tries to silence him so they do not anger the Metkaina even more. Loak talks to Syria about it, and she believes him. The whalers begin their attack by launching harpoons filled with inflatable materials that pierce the fins of the Tulkun, including Roa and her child. After collecting their materials, Ronal and the other Metkaina arrive, and Ronal cries in pain at the loss of her soul sister and child. Tonawari and Ronal, along with dozens of angry Metkaina, direct their anger at Jake for leading the rogues into their land, as they knew he would. When Jake points out that the Tulkun are being marked for death by the whalers' trackers, he urges the Metkaina to warn the Tulkun before more of them are killed. Loak sets out to warn Payakan, even though Neytiri warned him not to. He follows his brother, along with Syria and Onam, and then Kiri and Tuk. They find Payakan, who is already tagged with a tracking device. Neytiri contacts Jake to warn him, and he and Neytiri leave to rescue their children. The whalers begin their attack and pursue the children and Tulkun. Jake and Neytiri are joined in battle by Metkaina warriors. The children are captured during the battle and held captive on the ship. When Jake and his companions arrive, Quaritch orders him to surrender and holds Loak at gunpoint to show he means business. Jake prepares to surrender until Payakan sees his soul brother in danger. He leaps out of the water and rushes the ship, taking down several whalers in the process. The Novi seize this moment to go into battle. With the help of Payakan and the Metkaina, they manage to kill most of the whalers. Scoresby tries to harpoon Payakan, but manages to wrap the wire around the boat, killing the men and severing one of Scoresby's arms. The children escape, and Kiri uses her powers to manipulate the marine environment and kill some whalers. Spider also turns on the other humans and joins his Novi family. In the midst of the battle, Neytiri rescues his siblings and their friends, but is shot. The family arrives at a rock where they try to help Neytiri, but he succumbs to his wounds. Neytiri weeps in despair at the loss of her son, and the rest of the family is devastated. Quaritch contacts Jake and reveals that he has Kiri and Tuk as hostages. Jake, accompanied by Neytiri, Spider and Loak, heads to the sinking ship, where the final showdown ensues. Neytiri mercilessly slaughters Quaritch's team to get revenge for Neytiri, while Jake faces his nemesis. After Jake frees Tuk, Quaritch shows up with Kiri and a knife to her throat. Neytiri grabs Spider and threatens his life in return. Although Quaritch tries to deny his care and relationship with the boy, he gives in and lets Kiri go after Neytiri cuts Spider across the chest. Neytiri takes the children to safety, and Jake decides to end it with Quaritch and fight to the death. The ship begins to sink, trapping the family underwater. Jake fights Quaritch until he manages to put him in a chokehold and make him sink underwater. Loak finds his father, who asks him to leave without him, as Jake does not think he'll make it, but Loak helps him breathe as Syria showed him, and they escape with Payakan. Meanwhile, Kiri summons the underwater creatures to help Neytiri and Tuk escape from there. Spider swims to save Quaritch, but abandons him for his evil deeds and joins Jake's family, with Jake officially taking him in as a son. Jake wants to say goodbye to Tonawari, but he tells him that he and his family are now Metkaina and are welcome to stay. The family then holds a funeral for Neytiri, where his body is given to the Tree of Souls, and they are told that he is now with Awa. Jake and Neytiri connect with the tree, where they can see Neytiri through memories. Jake, recognizing this land as his family's new home, vows to continue fighting and protecting them.